Walter Mondale has served at the highest levels of the federal government, most recently as ambassador to Japan, most notably for his time as vice president and a United States senator for Minnesota.
Mondale lives and works in Minneapolis and remains active in political life.
I was able to sit down with him last week to talk about the present and future state of politics here in America, and Mondale tells me he is worried. It is a story you'll only see on KSFY. Admittedly, Walter Mondale didn't want Donald Trump to become president. But when Trump won the election, Mondale was ready to respect his status as commander-in-chief.
When he was the new president, I thought, like all presidents, he deserved a chance to learn and show his stuff and settle in.
But now, nearly 16 months in, Mondale tells me he is concerned about the president's priorities.
I think he diminishes respect for the public process. I think he's shaken the public's faith in what their leaders stand for. I think that he has raised doubts about whether the process will be honest and open.
The former vice president says President Trump has targeted nearly every institution that could in any way oppose him, including the media.
It wasn't until I became a politician that I realized how nasty, how mean, how vicious, and how fake the press can be.
He's had a campaign on against the press. I lived with the press for 50 years. You have to have press around.
Mondale has dealt with the press for decades and is on record as speaking highly of journalists and journalism, such as this 1980 interview when he visited Iowa as vice president.
I think press coverage is excellent in a free society, and thank God we're free. The right of the press, television, radio, to cover us and to comment is unlimited and should be unlimited.
Mondale also tells me he doesn't understand why Trump has targeted agencies responsible for keeping America safe.
This is the most biased group of people. These people have the biggest conflicts of interest I've ever seen.
About the intelligence and the law enforcement agencies, he said they're bad. That's never been my experience. We need them. And they need our support.
Mondale tells me his view of the Trump White House diminished greatly last August, following the president's response to a white nationalist protest in Charlottesville, Virginia, that turned violent.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
He said there are a lot of good people on both sides. I don't give a Nazi credit for doing anything right. I mean, that's so basically vile that we have to call it for what it is.
Regarding last week's historic summit between the leaders of North Korea and South Korea, Mondale urges caution.
You got to know what you're doing over there. It could be real trouble.
The former vice president says Trump's willingness to embrace Kim Jong-un while being wary of other foreign policy relationships is concerning.
We're weakening our alliances. We're getting ready for some very dangerous things in North Korea. It may work out.
So I asked the vice president, following the initial grace period for a president to get their footing, what does he now think of President Trump? Walter Mondale didn't hold back.
I think now the time has come when we can start speaking frankly. I don't think he knows much. I don't think he studies much. I don't think he reads at all. And I don't say he's always wrong, but I think he's always uninformed.
Now, given the strong nature of former Vice President Mondale's comments, I contacted White House spokesperson Carolina Hurley to see if the Trump administration would like to respond in any way. Hurley got back to me saying she had received my request, and that is the last I've heard. A reminder, I will have more of my discussion with Walter Mondale Sunday night at 10:30 on This Week in Politics.